So welcome to Vibe Tribe, the space where we explore the tools, the truth, the vibes that power your spiritual journey. I'm Elaine Somerville, and every week we'll be going deeper into mediumship, energy, intuition, healing, and the wild, wonderful world of spiritual growth. So settle in, tune in, and let's raise the vibe. Bringing you joyful exploration. And today we're tackling a biggie. What exactly is spirituality? Well, spirituality, it's like that mysterious yet happy vibe that you feel when you're watching a sunset or when you feel a random act of kindness and it makes your day. It's not just for yoga studios or quiet Sunday mornings. It's for anyone looking to find a little bit of magic in your everyday. So, diving into the big S, the big spirituality. So, what is this thing called spirituality? It's your personal compass. It's exactly what it is. It's your personal compass. It leads you to that place where you feel connected, grounded, and blissfully you. It's those fluttery moments that remind us that we're part of something greater. You know, there's times when my grown-up children now, there's times when my children were young, a lot younger, and I would look at them and think, I would just get this warm, fuzzy feeling. Even now, I still get that warm, fuzzy feeling when we all get together. And I sit back and I think, I'm so blessed to be a part of this. And I think to myself, those young adults, they are part of me, yeah, my legacy. They are what I've helped to shape, helped to mold. And I just feel this fuzzy feeling of love, of happiness, of everything start from the inside. It's what gives us joy when I hear of their accomplishments. You know, my granddaughter, I have a 18-month-old granddaughter, and I'm like a kid in a corner shop when I see that she does something new. You know, a little while ago, me and my daughter noticed that she was starting to walk bent over at times. She would bend over. I would wonder, what's she doing? So when she did it, I used to say, oh, she's doing a funny walk. A bit like John Cleese. She's doing a funny walk. Don't know what that's all about. But then a couple of days ago, I was doing one of her jigsaws with her and there was a piece missing. It was a little parrot. And I said, oh, where's the parrot? And she pointed towards what I thought she was pointing to the kitchen. And I says, it's in the kitchen. And again, she pointed, but this time she climbed down off my knee and she bent over and she's pointing. And I said, where's it? In the kitchen. So she was going like this. So she's bent down again. She bent over and she pointed at the sofa. I says, it's under the sofa. So I got down on my hands and knees and sure enough, there was the parrot. And I said, oh, I says, you're so clever. And I clapped my hands, you know, and I says, what a great job and, you know, wonderful. And I felt that lovely, warm, fuzzy feeling. And when my daughter had been out shopping, I think. Anyway, when my daughter came back in, I said, you know what she means? I said, when she bends over, she says, what? And I told her what had just happened. And we both went, she means either looking or finding. I said, so when she bends over, now we know that you're saying look for it. So that gives us the funny fuzzy feeling, because that's an unexpected burst of spirituality. It's that spiritual connection. Because if I feel that warm, fuzzy feeling, because I've understood what she's saying, she's going to feel that warm, fuzzy feeling, knowing and recognizing that I've understood what she felt. So it's that connection. So that's what spirituality is, your personal compass. That warm, fuzzy feeling told us it was right. It was the right understanding. Spirituality is your personal compass. When you say something nasty about someone, or when you do a nasty deed against someone else, you get that feeling, don't you? You get that feeling of, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have said that. That again is your compass, your personal compass, saying, no, you shouldn't have. Wasn't very nice. But when you do something nice, or when you pay someone a compliment, or when you've supported someone, or just by smiling at someone in the street, a stranger in the street, you get that, your compass says, good job. Good job. So, religion and spirituality, you can be classing them as cousins, not twins. Because people often mix up spirituality and religion, but they are more like cousins than twins. And, you can hang out with one or both or neither. There's no pressure. Spirituality is a personal journey. Your quest to finding the meaning and the magic in your life. A few years ago, I lost my husband. Almost 17 years ago, I lost my husband. And even though we were expecting it, even though I kind of accepted it, I didn't think about what my life would be like afterwards. And overnight, I became a single parent. I became a widow, though I never, ever classed myself as a widow. Overnight, because I'd had to step away from work to look after him, to be there for him, to be there for my two kids. I felt as though, what was the reason for my life? What was the purpose? Did I have a meaning? Did I have a purpose? And I felt as though I'd lost my life. Now, obviously that's not true, but at times that's how it can feel. So I didn't have an answer to where I was going. I didn't have questions to where I was going, apart from what's happening with my life. What's going on now? My priority became not me. My priority came to be where I was just solely focused on my kids. Now, that's what got me through that time. There was days when I didn't want to be here. There was days when it took us a little bit longer to get out of bed. But my purpose was to still be there for my kids. So on the days where I didn't feel as though I wanted to get out of bed, some days I'd wake up and I'd think, I wouldn't be thinking just 5 more minutes, I'd be thinking another hour, and then I'd be thinking, I'd get up, I'd make the breakfast, get them ready for school, get them out of school, I'd jump back into bed. Because I just wanted to be, just to be, not think, not feel, not anything. But, The thing is, it's absolutely okay not to have the answers. You know, one time I remember after my husband passed, I was ironing and I was thinking, I should be hitting the bottle now. That's what people do. But really, is it? Anyway, I didn't. I remember thinking, I've got a bottle of martini in the cupboard. It's not the same hitting a martini. I'll not bother. So I didn't. It's okay to not have the answers. It's okay not to know at times what our purpose is, what the meaning of our life is. You know, back then, I can honestly say that, you know, I had begun to kind of get my head round that the meaning of my life then was to be there for my kids, to be a guide for them, to keep them going. So that's when I felt my meaning was then. Part of my meaning now is still to be here for my kids. You know, I really hope if they find an elixir of life that gives you, you know, never ending life and it's that never ending eternal flame, I hope I'm the one to try it out because I never want to be not here. And will I ever really not be here? Of course I will. I'll always be here simply because through memories, through talks, all of that, you know, and the thing is, as we talk about past loved ones, if we talk about good situations, we get that warm, fuzzy feeling, you know, good times in my memories. So that's with spiritual connection. Because we connect to our memories, we connect to our emotions, we connect to everything. Excuse me. But guess what? With spirituality, growth comes wearing comfortable pajamas. It helps you become a better version of yourself, again, without the pressure. It's about noticing those little things that light you up and running with them. You know, again, going back to my kids, I know that my son loves my cheese toasties. He loves cheese toasties, but they don't quite have the same taste as his mom's cheese toasties. That lights him up. But it also lights me up when I say it to him, even now when he's married. Even now, if I say to him, would you like one of mom's cheese toasties? And he'll have a little bit of, you know, play along with this. He said, well, I don't know. I don't know. And inside, I'm thinking, what? You don't want one of my cheese toasties? You know, and I know he's just having a little bit of play with us. And you say, go on then. It lights me up just to make his cheese toasties because it makes us feel wanted. Again, it's that connection. It's that connection, that spiritual connection. So, you know, I can remember another thing I can let you know is a good few years ago, I used to be such an angry person. You know, you hear about talking about growth, spiritual growth. I was such an angry person. I felt as though life was always working against us, always working against us. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck. I thought that way. Even though, even though, I kind of practiced meditation from a quite a young age. Now, I still felt as though, you know, life was working against us. So I was an angry person. And you know what it is? And this day, I remember thinking, I'm sick of being angry. Sick of being angry. What can I do to stop that anger? So, what I did was, I really set about ridding myself. You hear people talk about healing. I, I began the healing journey. I began the healing journey on my thoughts. I began the healing journey on me physical self, the mental self, and the spiritual self. I began that healing journey. And over time, I realized I wasn't getting as angry. And it could be the slightest little thing that would start us feeling angry. If you looked at us the wrong way, I would think what you're looking at. I was that type of person. And though I didn't like to see myself as that type of person, but gradually over time, I started noticing how things that would have one time made us go from 0 to 100 stopped making us go, making us go that way. But it wasn't happening fast enough. So I really set about it, to change, that personal growth. And that's where it is. So, when we talk about sprinkles of spirituality in your daily life, everyday spirituality, it's a bit like adding glitter to your day, just putting that little bit of magic into your day. It can be as simple as finding gratitude in your morning coffee, the smell of your coffee, how it looks. It can be something magical like that. That might not be magical to everyone because everyone's magical little sprinkle of glitter isn't the same for everyone. We've all got our own little individual little sprinkles of glitter. So sending good vibes to a stranger, let's begin to to sprinkle some of that sparkly stuff all over your routine. What I used to do was when I was going through a period of understanding what gratitude was, because we can all see the quotes on social medias and we all hear people say, be grateful, but sometimes we don't understand what being grateful is. So what I did was, and this might give you a laugh, what I started doing was, as soon as I opened my eyes, I said, right, I'm alive. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to think. I'd open my eyes. That's it. I'm grateful to the curtains for being able to close out the light so I can sleep. I'm grateful to the glass in the window so that it stops the wind coming in when I'm asleep. I'm grateful to the clothes I can put on so I don't have to walk around naked. I'm grateful to the carpet on the floor so the floor feels soft. I'd spend a little while doing that. I'm grateful to being able to know how to use a tap. I'm grateful for the water, being able to come out of the tap so I can wash myself and clean myself. I'm grateful, I'm grateful for, and it would go on like that because, actionable steps, being grateful, things like saying thank you for your breakfast, even if it's for yourself that you've made your breakfast. My son has this thing when he cooks, he likes his food to look presentable on the plate. And you can see he puts his focus on it and he sets his meals out beautiful. He's thankful for that. That's his way of, thanking himself for cooking his meals. Little things like that. You can send a mental high five to the universe for being here and being part of it. So remember that your spiritual journey is totally yours to sculpt. And whether it's a gentle breeze or a rainbow after the rain, Let it fill your heart with joy and curiosity, and I'd love to hear your stories too. So if you want to post in the comments something that you were grateful for, or contact us at elainesomerville.com. Watch for events. See what's coming up. So thanks for listening. And I want to say, here's a little teaser. Next week, I have an absolutely amazing guest joining me. And I know that they are going to blow your cosmic socks off. So stay tuned. So until then, keep your light bright and your laughter loud.